23. The waitress brought my dinner and walked away, her hips moving provokingly. Her walk had the same effect on the men sitting around the restaurant as a snake, swaying back and forth, would have on a bird. I glanced at my watch again. 3 more hours. Stella had met Preacher twice now. This evening was the night for the big play. She'd been to the false church we had tossed up, and accepted it without too much fuss. After she saw his license, she had been almost convinced. And when I took her by his church one evening, and she walked in on a fake marriage, all doubt left her mind. She was more than ready to have him marry us, and when he put her off, causing us to postpone it another day, she started sleeping the sleep of the contented. Getting a young man almost half her age was a middle-aged woman's dream. Impatiently, I glanced at my watch again. The door opened, and Boots walked in. I stared at her coldly as she spotted me and started to walk over to my table. She hesitated for a minute. "Do you mind if I sit down with you?" Her carriage was as proud as ever. She walked as though she possessed something other women didn't have. She was the floating dream of many a man. "If you're not afraid of someone telling your old man about us being together, knock yourself out and sit down." I watched her closely as she pulled out a chair. There was something on her mind. She wouldn't dare arouse Tony's displeasure unless she had something important worrying her. I remained silent, waiting for her to speak. "Well, Whoreson, I heard about your bad luck. I'm sorry to hear that Ruby ran off." "Yeah, I can just look at you and see it," I said sarcastically. The sleepless morning a week before, when I awoke to find that Ruby hadn't come home. My frantic telephone calls, first to Women's Division at the police station, then the hospital. The fear that something had happened to her, all this and more rushed back to me because of her comment. But to hell with Ruby, I thought. It was good riddance. I had bigger plans. "Perhaps I didn't say that quite right," Boots began again. "What I really wanted to know, Whoreson, is what you plan on doing now that you ain't got nobody." "For some reason, bitch, I can't seem to figure out where you're coming from. You know, without my telling you, that ain't none of your business. But you still wouldn't put yourself on Front Street for that reason. What's the real deal? You done got fed up with the large stable you're living in, or is it that Tony wouldn't dare make a black bitch his main woman over all them white girls he got?" She stared around the restaurant with unseeing eyes. I knew I'd hit the tender spot. "Since you're so curious," I went on, "I'll tell you my plans. Sometime in the morning, I'm going to pack my bags and hit the highway. I haven't made up my mind yet to where I'm going, but Detroit will be 300 miles behind me this time tomorrow." It would have been impossible for a blind man not to see that my words hit home. She let out her breath slowly. "Take me with you, Whoreson. If you do, I'll be yours for life." "Why?" I asked her point blank. The question caught her by surprise. She looked up at me sincerely. "Why?" "I'll tell you why. Tony don't need me. All he needs is a banker. That's all I am to him." Somewhere in the back of my mind, her words rang a bell. "Banker? What you talking about, Boots?" With a sigh, she began to talk, and I listened real close. "You know, you and Tony got a lot of ways alike. Maybe that's why I picked him while you was gone. Anyway, he's always gambling, so he don't put all of his money in the bank. He gives it to me to put up for him in case he runs into a crap game or something out in the street. That seems to be all I can do for him nowadays. Just hold his money." "How much?" I asked softly. She hesitated for just a second. $6,000. He said he was going to buy his new Cadillac with it." "Where is it?" Her eyes met mine for a moment. Then she looked away. "I got to put up at my apartment." She caught her breath and asked, "Are you really leaving in the morning, Whoreson?" The jukebox began to play the number by John Coltrane, "These Foolish Things." I sat back and smiled. What goes around, comes around. I could see it in the bitch's eyes. That money belonged to me. All you got to do is walk out to my car and open the trunk. All my clothes are already packed, sitting out there waiting for me to ride out. Her voice was hoarse. Let's get up and walk out and make one stop. I'll run in and get the money, and then we can hit the highway. Right now, Whoreson. I'll give you every penny of it. She stopped long enough to get her breath. It don't make no difference when we leave. If you was going, we can just as well leave now. Now that was just like a bitch, I thought to myself coldly. She didn't stop to think that I might have some business of my own to take care of. I knew she was on the borderline and could jump either way. So I pushed her. I wasn't going to allow her time to think, because if she did, she might change her mind about that money. She knew as well as I did that once she took that money, Tony would break her back, wherever he found her. Her only chance would be to put many miles between her and Tony. I manipulated her like a puppy on a leash. Let's go, I said sharply, not giving her time to reason. She stood up, bewildered. Where? She asked in a shocked voice. The people at the tables and the counter watched us closely as we left. There would be much talk, and it wouldn't be long before Tony was informed about us leaving together. If I knew Tony, he'd make a beeline for his money stash. No pimp with anything on the ball would trust his woman in the company of her ex-pimp. There was no time for any bullshit, so I drove straight to her apartment. Get the money and whatever clothes you can toss together at once, I ordered. She jumped out of the car and ran up the stairs. I glanced at my watch. I wasn't afraid of Tony, but I didn't want any static from him until I got that money in my pocket. After that, I didn't give a damn what he did. I wasn't planning on kicking back no $6 grand. It didn't take her long. She came out with 2 suitcases under her arms, walking fast. Before she got to the car, another girl came out of the building behind her and ran down the steps. Their voices came drifting to me. Boots, you know what you're doing, girl? Tony gonna kill you. At least leave his money. You know how he is about that. Boots hesitated. I yelled out the window. Bitch, if you don't get your ass in this car, I'm gonna kill you myself. I stared at the girl holding Boots' arm. And if you don't turn her arm loose and get the hell out of my game, bitch, I'll get out of here and break one of your funky legs. She released Boots. I know you, Whoreson. I'm going to tell Tony just what you said. It don't make me no difference if you tell your black-ass mammy, bitch, I yelled, and jumped out of the car. Boots ran over and pushed her suitcases into the back seat. I climbed back in and started the car up. Set it out, woman, I said, and held my hand out for the money. If you have never had a woman give you $6,000, it will be hard to understand what I felt at that moment. When she set that money in my hand, it was like I had just taken a heavy drug. The blood raced to my head, and I believed I owned the world. How sweet it is. Will we go on, Whoreson? She asked. She tried to sound cheerful, but I could feel the fear gnawing at her. I couldn't blame her. I knew that I was the only thing between her and a broken back. If she had had a hint of what I was thinking, she would have jumped out and run for dear life. I hadn't made up my mind yet on what to do with her, but one thing was sure. Whenever I told a whore they couldn't leave me and come back, I meant every word of it. I wasn't a bus driver. A bitch couldn't catch a ride with me whenever she made up her mind to do it. Since I didn't want any trouble from Tony until after I took off my big sting, I found a motel in the outskirts. Boots' eyes got big as I pulled up and parked. We ain't gonna check in here, are we? Well, I don't know what the hell you gonna do, but I'm sure in the hell gonna check in, I said. She stared at me angrily. Whoreson, you lied to me just to get your hands on Tony's money. I leaned over and slapped the shit out of her. First, bitch, don't call me no liar. Second, it ain't Tony's money. It's mine. Whatever inconvenience the bitch was going to cause me, I had to put up with it for at least the next few hours. She followed me docilely into the motel. I checked us in, and we settled down. I made her go out and get her bags. When she returned, I was counting my money. She glared at me. Listen, whore, I ain't about to have you walking around me rolling your eyes, so just keep all them goddamn funny looks to yourself. Being cruel to her was really unnecessary. This was the first time in my life I had ever seen her broken. There was no doubt in my mind about that. She was completely lost. Her head hung down, and she looked at me sadly. Why, Whoreson? Why? What did I ever do to you to make you want to do this to me? When I was with you, I gave you every penny I ever made. Don't that mean something to you? Her voice broke. She started crying, silently. What is it, Whoreson? What is it? Do you hate women or something like that? A man just don't be cruel like you're being for no reason at all. Bitch, let me tell you something. Your tears, your name-calling, it ain't nothing but humorous to me. You can talk from now on. It ain't gonna mean a thing, 'cause as far as one of you funky bitches is concerned, my understanding is completely zero. For several minutes, she just stared at me. I guess you can be tough when a woman's concerned, but I wonder how you'll act if Tony rides down on you. If you're trying to make me mad, Boots, forget it. I got Tony's money in my pocket, and if he rides down on me, it's gonna still stay in my pocket. She swore bitterly. God damn it, you Detroit niggas ain't no earthly good. With a jerk, she pulled her blouse off, then loosened her bra. I watched her coldly as she wiggled out of her skirt and panties. Without a backward look, she marched off towards the shower. The sound of running water filled the room. I stretched out on the bed. I still had 2 hours to go before picking up Stella. We would have to arrive at the church at the exact minute. I went over my plan again. Everything depended on the timing. Preacher had a bunch of wine heads lined up. He promised them $10 each just to sit in the church, so I could figure on it being full when we arrived. Boots came out of the bathroom and lay down on the bed beside me. I'd taken my shirt off to get comfortable. She twisted around so that her head was on my chest. Her hands began to wander up and down, promising temporary pleasure. Her body was too tempting, even after so many years. I got up and went in and took a shower. When I returned, she stared at me strangely. I didn't mind. I dressed slowly, putting on a midnight blue silk suit with powder blue shirt. She remained silent as I dressed. When I finished, I said, I'll be back sometime in the morning. If you ain't here, I'll figure you done rolled out. Do whatever you want to do. It's your decision. She watched me silently as I went out the door. To me, it didn't really make any difference. She could stay or leave.